All right, welcome yogis. This is going to be our Friday 5 p.m. Deep stretch. It'll be a 45-minute flow. You'll want to have a couple of blocks available and handy. If you don't have blocks at home, just something to elevate you off the floor. Hard-covered books work really nice. And then a strap tonight as well. If you don't have a strap at home, a towel, a belt, anything that you can kind of lengthen your grip on. And we'll go ahead and get started here. And beginning in Shavasana tonight, go ahead before you lay on back, grab your strap or your towel or whatever you're using for your strap today, strap alternative, and lay it next to your side so that it's handy there for you. Lengthen your legs out long in front. You can fan your feet out or take the legs wide on the mat and then slowly lower down onto your back. Again, making sure that you've got a nice long line of energy here. Palms facing open. Breath is free. Eyes either soften or close. Together, let's take a nice big breath in through the nose. Fill up the belly and the chest. As you exhale, open the mouth and send it away. Take another inhale through your nose. Breathe in. And exhale out the mouth, let it go. And one more time, breathe in through your nose, fill up the belly and the chest. And exhale, open the mouth and empty all that stale air out. Seal your lips, allow the breath to travel in and out through the nose. And starting to let this breath relax us into the space that we're falling into. Let your head, your shoulders, your hips and heels all become a little heavier. Feel the heaviness of your limbs on the mat, the support that's underneath of you. And this week, my theme for my classes has been around creating the new. And what I mean by that is creating the new is a way for us to look at things and our situation a bit more positively and effectively. It's also springtime, so it's a good time for spring cleaning. Out with the old, making space for the new. And creating the new also means that we get this opportunity to really appreciate the fact that we have opportunities. We get to plant seeds for our future selves instead of dwelling on what we've lost or what's no longer there for us. Now is the time with our external environment dealing with its own struggles that it's so important that we turn our focus inwards. And we start to be inspired by those creative ideas, even if it's just planting the seeds, creating that foundation for a bright future. With that in mind, go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, deepen your breath. Roll your wrists and your ankles. You might even stretch the arms overhead. Bring your toes together to touch. Big full body stretch, helping you to reawaken. And as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Maybe open up the eyes. And take your knees left and right a few times, massaging the low back. Or even circle out the knees, one direction and then the other. Keeping a hold of your right knee, extend your left leg long on the mat. Interlace your fingers above your right shin. Take an inhale and flex through both feet. As you exhale, pull your right knee towards your right armpit. So the leg is missing the belly, missing the torso and the ribs. And instead, it's heading to the outside of the ribs, up towards the armpit. Feel the compression in the front of your right hip. And make sure that your legs stay engaged. Flex your feet. Toes curl up towards the kneecap. Stay relaxed through your shoulders, your head and neck. Wind removing pose. Good for the ascending colon. And then here, go ahead and release your grip there, or that pull down towards the armpit. Take your strap if you have a hold of it. Loop your foot around the strap and extend your legs up to the sky. If you don't have a strap, just interlace your hands behind your thigh, knee, or calf. If you do have a strap, make sure that you're pulling down with both sides here, so you don't just have one hand on the strap. Pulling down equally so that your shoulder blades can relax on the mat, and I would even let your grip come down so far that your elbows relax onto the mat. Add a soft micro bend in your right knee. Breathe in. And as you exhale, see if you can guide your thigh a little closer to your chest. You're hinging at your hip crease to bring the leg towards your face. Reclining hand to big toe pose A. Now go ahead and bring your straps together if you're holding on to a strap. Slide your right hand up a little closer to the foot and grab the straps with one hand. Bring your left hand to your left hip and let's bend the left knee to start. Bring the sole of the foot to the floor. Send your right knee out to the right. You're either holding the bottom of the leg or your strap. And if you want a little bit more, extend your left leg long. Reclining hand to big toe pose B. Keep your right foot flexed. Toes curl up and back towards the kneecap. Soften your elbow so you can soften your shoulders down the back. Keep your gaze forward and your left leg energized. Both sits bones are grounded even though we've got this external rotation in the right hip. Take another breath in. Stay for the breath out. Two more like that. Inhale, reach through your right heel. Feel the length in the bottom of your leg. And exhale, let that go. One more inhale. And exhale. Bring your foot back to center. Bend your knee and set your strap over to the left side of your mat. Hug both knees into the chest. Keep a hold of your left knee, interlace your fingers around the top of your shin, and lengthen your right leg long. Flex your feet, take an inhale, reach to the crown of your head. As you exhale, pull your left knee over to the left side of your ribs, up towards the armpit. Wind removing pose here. This is wonderful for the descending colon, which helps us to digest. Good for the digestive system. Stay relaxed through your shoulders, even though we're pulling. Make sure there's no tension or stress. Flex through the feet and feel the compression on the front of your left hip here. Breathing in and out. Go ahead and release the pull. Grab your strap, loop it around your foot, and extend the leg up towards the sky. Grab the strap with both hands and wrap the strap around your palms. Soften through your left knee. Take an inhale. And exhale, guide the thigh closer to your chest. Stay relaxed through your shoulders. Stay relaxed through your arms. Flex through the left foot and the right foot here. Every inhale, feel yourself lengthen through the left heel. Every exhale, see if you can guide the leg, even if it's just a millimeter closer to your ribs. Go ahead and grab the strap with just your left hand. Place your right hand on the top of your right hip bone. And then send your left leg out to the left. Only go to where you feel sensation in the inner groin or the outer hip. You want to keep your right sits bones grounded on the mat. So once it starts to peel off, we've come too far. And again, relax your left elbow, your shoulder. Make sure there's energy through the right heel and the left heel. And take 2 more cycles of breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And bring the leg back up through center. Go ahead and bend the knee. Set your strap over to the side and hug both knees into the chest. Grab behind your knees, cross your ankles, and start to rock and roll forward and back. Give yourself a little bit of momentum. And eventually we're going to head into tabletop position. So come all the way around and forward. Come onto all fours. Shoulders over wrist, hips over knees. Spread the palms wide. Tuck your toes underneath and hammock your belly down. Take your gaze forward. Cow pose. Exhale, round through your spine. Take your gaze to your thighs for cat pose. 2 more like that. Inhale to draw your heartstrings forward between the biceps. Exhale, round and coil the tailbone and the crown down to the floor. 1 more time as we inhale, tailbone and crown lift up. And exhale, coil the belly in and up, dome through your upper back. Come back into a neutral tabletop position. Keep your knees right underneath of your hips and walk your palms forward for puppy pose, bringing your forehead down to the mat. It's important that you keep your hips right over your knees. We're not shifting the hips back. We're coming even further forward. You may need to check in with yourself to see if that's happening. This is a big release through the shoulders, the pectoral muscles, and we get a big nice stretch underneath of the armpits. You can keep the palms flat on the earth, or you can teepee tent your palms here and wiggle side to side. Make sure that you're drawing your belly button to the spine, protecting the low back, the lumbar spine. And rest your palms on the mat. Walk your hands back underneath of your shoulders. Come back into a tabletop position. Lift your left arm up and then bind it behind your back. Good. And take an inhale. And as you exhale, go ahead and release the left hand back down. Sweep your right arm up on an inhale. And as you exhale, thread the needle. Bring the arm all the way through. I'm going to mirror you, so your right arm up. Thread the needle, bring the shoulder and the temple all the way down to the floor. Press your left hand into the earth and either stay there or take the hand behind the back. Inhaling here and exhaling to stay. Bring the left hand back under the shoulder. Lift your right arm back up to the sky. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, bring the hand back down to the mat. Turn your right shin out to the right here. And then take your left leg, extend it back so you're coming into a side plank. So I'm going to turn to face this way so you can see me a little bit better. Coming into a side plank, lift your bottom leg or lift your top leg so your heel's in line with your hip. You can either stay here or bend into the knee, reach back with your top arm, and kick the foot into the hand for a baby half moon. And gaze could come back down to the floor or gaze up, whatever feels more comfortable on the neck. And then on your next inhale, lengthen the arm and the leg out long. Set your foot down and now use your obliques to help you lift. Bring your right fingers to your right shin and your left arm to stretch up and over the ear line. Take an inhale. And exhale, bring your right hand, tuck your right toes under, bring your right hand to your right heel, and stretch your left arm up and back behind you, or you could even circle it around to really open up through the hips. Keep pressing the hips forward for a half camel pose. Good. Bring yourself back around and come into a tabletop position. Extending your left shin out to the left. Go ahead and take your right leg and extend it long. Come into your modified side plank. So stay facing towards you. Lift your top leg up, heel in line with the hip. And then either stay here or bend into the knee. Reach back to grab a hold of the foot and kick the foot into the hand. You could gaze back to open up the heart. Try to keep your knee in line with your hip and then open up from there. Extend the arm and leg long once again. Drop the foot. Use your obliques to help you lift. Bringing left fingers to left shin or right fingers. And then left arm over the ear line. Big inhale. And as you exhale, come back around. Let's bring the back hand, or your hand to the back calf or ankle, and then sweep the top arm around, reach back, a little back bend, and come back around to face to the top of your mat, coming into tabletop position. Walk your palms a palm print forward. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back. Find downward facing dog. Soften your knees a little bit. Make sure your feet are about hip width distance. Hands will be shoulder width distance apart. On an inhale, ripple forward into plank and then drop your hips. Open up your chest. Your toes will stay tucked for up dog. And as you exhale, send the tailbone up and back, downward facing dog. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale high onto the toes. Ripple forward into plank and then drop your hips. Reach your heart forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades back. Use your belly muscles to lift your hips up and back to down dog. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Feet coming together at the back of your mat. With a breath in, stretch your right leg to the sky. Bend your knee and peel open through your hip. Squeeze your heel towards your glute. Roll out your ankle in one direction and then the other. And as you're ready, step your foot forward in between your hands. Grab your blocks, bring them underneath of your shoulders, second or third level. And then straighten your right leg long for high pyramid. You could lift your toes or keep them lowered. Scissor hug your right hip back. As you exhale, lower the right toes. Lower your left knee down as well. And inhale, stretch the arms up for Anjaneyasana. Back toes can stay tucked or you can release them, up to you. Anjaneyasana or low lunge. Press through the right foot, pull the right hip back. As you exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. As you exhale, take a twist over to the right. Left elbow hooks to the outside of the thigh, or to modify, left hand and right hand to the back pocket. Lengthen out through the crown of your head. Make the twist come from the belly. As you breathe out, twist deeper. Come back through center, hands to your heart. And bring your hands back to your blocks. Straighten out your right leg and now walk all the way back until you can sit onto your left heel. If that's too much on the foot, guide a block and slide it underneath of your bum there. Otherwise, sitting onto the heel, take a big breath in, stretch your arms up. As you exhale, hinge and forward fold. Let your hands fall where they may. Don't worry about touching the toes. Add a soft micro bend in your right knee as you bow over the leg. Take an inhale, lift halfway through the torso. And exhale, bow a little deeper. Inhale, shift forward, come back into your lunge. Blocks to the side so they're out of your way. Tuck the back toes, lift the knees, sweep the right leg up, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, peel your hip open again. Option to stay here this time. Or option to flip your dog, setting the right toes behind your left calf or shin, and then lifting the hips, sweeping the right arm up and over, wild thing. As you exhale, come back into downward facing dog, right hand under the shoulder, and right foot next to the left. Pedal out your knees, shake out your head a little bit, just releasing through your downward facing dog. We'll take that same sequence all over to the other side. Feet together at the back of your mat. Inhale, sweep your left leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, roll the hip open, peel it open to stack left hip on top of right. Look under your right armpit to help you square off through your shoulders. Keep them square and level to the top of your mat. Option to roll out your ankle, one direction and then the other. And as you exhale, step the foot forward in between your hands. Grab your blocks here, level 2 or level 3. Bring them under your shoulders and straighten your left leg. High pyramid or wide-legged pyramid. Left hip is scissor hugging back. Left toes are lifting to the sky. Inhale. And now exhale, left toes down as well as the right knee. Celebrate your arms overhead, Anjaneyasana. Big stretch through the right hip flexor. Stay relaxed through your shoulders. Scissor hug your left hip back. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. As you inhale, lean forward, find length in the spine. Now to modify, right hand comes to the thigh, left hand to the back pocket. If you're taking your prayer twist, elbow comes to the outer thigh, and we press down wherever we're at, using that energy to help us twist with the left palm. Rotating open towards the sky for a low lunge twist. Inhale, bring your hands back to your heart. Look forward. Exhale, hands to the blocks. Lengthen your left leg, and this time sit all the way back onto your right heel. So maybe untuck the toes if you have them tucked, so that way you can sit down a little softer. Inhale, heart over hips, reach your arms up. As you exhale, hinge at your hip creases and bow forward again. Forward fold. Inhale and exhale. Soft micro bend in the knee. Use your next inhale to lunge forward into the front knee, blocks to the side. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, lift the left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, roll open through the hip again. Stay here or step the foot behind your right shin. Lift your hips, lift your heart, finding wild thing. Look out at your right fingers if you like. And then flipping back over, we'll meet in our downward facing dog. And take a breath in. Out the mouth, exhale. Let it go. Feet together at the back of your mat. With an inhale, sweep your right leg to the sky. Three-legged dog. With an exhale, step your foot forward in between your hands. And from your low lunge, rise up into a 5-pointed star. So toes are out, heels are in. Exhale, lunge down into your goddess squat. Lifting your heart over your hips, tuck your tailbone down. Now slide your hands to your inner thighs and twist, dipping the right shoulder, looking over the left, pressing the hands back. And then taking that to the other side. Twist, pressing the palms back, inner thighs opening. Come back through center and inhale. Bring your heels behind your toes. Stretch your arms out to a big Texas T. Soften your knees, hinge at your hips. Keep a flat back on the way down. Forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Walk your right hand in to the center of your mat. Soften your knees. Sweep your left arm to the sky for a wide-legged twist. Inhale here. Option to stay, arm reaching to the sky, or maybe take the hand right around to that hip crease on the right. Inhale, stretch the arm back up. Exhale, replace your right hand with your left. Inhale, sweep your right arm to the sky. Breath in. Stay if you want, or take variations with the top arm, and breath out, twist. Inhale, reach the right arm back up. And exhale, bring the right hand back under the shoulder. Crawl to frame your right foot at the top of your mat, and then continue to roll around here over to the right side. So all 10 toes face to the right, heel toe, your right foot halfway down. And you can either keep the hip lifted or lower it all the way down to the earth. This is a deep outer hip stretch, so we feel it into our QT muscles right above the hip bones and all the way up that side body on the left. Now swing this right arm back around. Start to face towards the left side of your mat. Coming into Skandasana, or deep lunge into the right knee. You can be lifted on your right toes or lowered. Lift your heart, lift your chest, and this is a great place for a block, or hands could come to heart center. If you find that support is useful, keep it underneath and lift up through the crown of your head. So a little bit of work for the hips here. We're going to see if we can ground our sits bones from our Skandasana. So when we ground, we want to we can bring our hands in front of us for support, or hands could come out. Sit onto the heel first and then lower onto your sits bones. And from there, go ahead and take your right hand. I guess if I'm facing you now, your left hand will be on the inside of the left thigh, and the right arm stretches up and over for a negate pose. And we're rotating that top shoulder on top here. And now come back up through center. Go ahead and ground through your sits bones and lengthen both legs out for a straddle. Stretch your arms to the sky, lift your toes up, point them up towards the ceiling as well as your kneecaps. And then hinging forward until you kind of meet your edge. Take your hands down. If you've got a little bit more space there, maybe taking it down a little further, or just feeling into that opening there in the inner groin muscles. You can always bring blocks underneath of the forehead for support. Go ahead and walk yourself back up to a seat. Gather your legs together, and we're just going to turn to the top of our mat to meet into a tabletop position. Walk your palms a palm print forward. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up, finding downward facing dog. And take a breath in. And take a breath out. Feet together at the back of your mat. Sweep your left leg up on an inhale. As you exhale, step your foot forward in between your hands. I'm going to turn and face this way so you can see me a little bit better. From your lunge, sweep all the way up into 5-pointed star. Arms and legs straighten, toes and heels draw out. And then as you exhale, come down into your goddess squat or horse lunge. And from here, we'll take an inhale for length. And as you exhale, reach your arms out to the side. Bring your heels behind your toes. Hinge at your hip creases. Fold until your hands come down to the earth. But now walk yourself out into sort of a wide-legged plank. From there, keep your hands as is. Send your hips up and back for a really wide-legged downward-facing dog. So for me, my heels really aren't touching at all. But I do feel that big extra length in between the inner groins, the legs, the hamstrings. Try to wrap your triceps down, maybe shake out the head, yes and no a few times. Getting a nice opening through the shoulders here. Walk your hands in and up underneath of your shoulders. And then crawl to the top of your mat. So back over towards your left foot there. Right hand grounds. As we come onto the blade side of the right foot, the left toes are turning as well, and then we're heel toeing that left ankle underneath of the knee. You could stay here lifted, or you could lower your right hip down and reach your left arm back. Deep outer hip stretch. Sweep this left arm back around. Turn back around to the longer edge side of your mat here into Skandasana, either with blocks underneath for support or hands to heart center. Good. And right toes could be lifted or lowered. And the same goes for the left heel. It could also be lifted or lowered in this position. And we could be a little higher or lower in this position as well. Grounding through our sits bones, with or without the support of your hands. Lower onto heel if you're lifted, lower onto your sits bones next. From here, bring your right hand on the inside of your right leg or shin, Lift your left arm up and stretch towards your toes. Maybe gazing up, keep that shoulder on top. You could always bring your top arm behind your head if that's difficult to stretch through the shoulder and the arm. And now as you bring your head back over your hips, we'll bring this right knee, or I guess our left knee in, and then the left knee in as well, the right knee in as well. Soles of the feet together for butterfly pose. So grab a hold of ankles, sit up tall, and as you exhale, hinge at your hip creases and bow forward. Keep the length out through the back of the neck and the crown of the head. You can press your elbows down to find a deeper opening there, but make sure your shoulders stay away from your ears. Come back up to a nice tall seat. Gather your knees together. Come into a tabletop facing the top of your mat. We'll meet there again. And then from our tabletop, walk the palms forward by a palm print. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in through the nose and a breath out. Feet together at the back of your mat. With an inhale, stretch your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step the foot to the outside of your right hand. Lower your left knee down. Grab a block, place it underneath of your palms, lift up through the crown of your head. For lizard lunge, you can stay right here, or you could lower down onto forearms, whether that be to a block or the earth. If you're in need of more heat, you can tuck the back toes and lift the knee off the mat. If you want something a little bit more juicier, we're going to come back up onto the palms, set a block under the left hand, and then begin to press the right knee out to the right. Stay here. You could also open your right arm out to the right, opening up the chest. And then option 2, bend into the back knee and grab a hold of the foot, or take your strap or towel around the foot. Kicking the foot back is going to give you a back bend. Today we're going to focus on a quad stretch. So instead, pull the heel closer and then bring your torso forward. You could do this on your left forearm here as well if you've got some space to lower down. Nice full breaths into that big left quad stretch. Let go of the foot if you have a hold of it. Come back up onto the palms. Block over to the side. Hands will stay under the shoulders. Tuck the left toes, lift the knee. Step the left foot to the outside of your left hand and lower your hips for Malasana. Hands come to heart center. Elbows come to the inside of your knees. Reach your tailbone to the earth. Slide the shoulder blades together onto your back body and lift up through the crown of your head. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can reach your arms out and lower down onto your bums. Good. Start to walk your feet out a little bit wider. Work your hands underneath of your knees and reach back. And then stay here, or see if you can start to work your legs straighter. So you might inch forward. I'm going to start to flex the feet, and as I work my chest down and forward, I'll flex the toes and reach the toes back towards the kneecap. So you may be at a different level, and that's okay. Only take this to where you know you can go. And then as you exit out, make sure that you're able to bend into the knees, lower and lengthen out slowly here, so we're mindful of the elbows. Soften your knees or bring them in. Cross your ankles. Bring your hands in front of you and step back into downward facing dog. A little pedal out through the knees, a shake out through the head. Feet together at the back of your mat. Inhale, the left leg reaches up. Exhale, step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Lower your right knee to the earth. Grab a block, bring it under the palms. Lift up, feel the length through the spine here. Option to stay, or option to lower onto forearms. That could be to your block or to the earth, up to you. You're welcome to stay right here. You don't have to move from this spot. If you like it, stay. If you want something more for the right quad, come up onto your palms. Bring that block underneath of your right palm. Left hand comes to the left knee, and we gently press that left knee out, coming onto the pinky edge side of the foot. You could stay here. You could reach the left arm back, or you could bend into the right knee and grab a hold of the foot. Instead of the back bend today, we're going to hug the heel in close to the right glute and bow forward. I like to look down, look forward, getting that nice big pull and bringing that heel closer, or you could lower down onto your right forearm here as well. It might give you some extra stretch there to the top of the thigh. Stay relaxed through your head, neck, and face. Another breath in. And out. And let go of the foot. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. Set your block over to the side. Keep your foot wide. Hands are under shoulders. Tuck the right toes. Lift the knee. Step the right foot up to the outside of your right hand. If it causes you to round through your shoulders to get your elbows on the inside of the knee, instead just take the arms straight and press your knees back with the backs of your elbows. Lift up through the crown of your head, breathe in. And then as you exhale, reach your arms forward. See if you can lower down onto your bum. Walk your feet a little bit wider. We're going to try that again. This time, maybe something a little bit more accessible if the legs straightening was too much. Work your hands and your arms underneath of your legs with your fingertips pointing back. I'm going to move these blocks actually. And then start to work heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. At the same time, you're reaching forward with your torso. And as you lower your head down, you might be able to rest on top of your feet here for sea turtle pose. And take a big inhale and exhale. Now to get out of it, lift your gaze in the same way you walked your feet in, heel toe them out, until you're safely able to release the arms, mindful of the elbows there. Cross the ankles, hug the knees in, and this time we'll just let the soles of the feet come down to the mat. We'll finish up the last couple of postures here on our back. So before we come down, if you've got a block, slide it down halfway with you. And then bring your hands behind your knees. Lower down slowly, one vertebra at a time. You can let the soles of the feet stay on the mat. Lift your hips and slide that block, either level 1 or level 2, underneath of your sacrum, the flat part of your back. Now you could stay here in a restorative bridge, or you could lift your legs up for a supported inversion. If it's in your practice to head into shoulder stand or plow pose, lift your hips up, grab underneath so you've got that support of the hands. I like to walk the elbows in a little bit here, and as you work your legs up, work energy through the leg muscles. So imagine that you're standing and you would be pressing down through the feet, kneecaps are lifted, that you could stay here, or you could drop the feet behind you, behind the head for plow pose. Again, if the feet don't touch, make sure that your hands stay there for support. If they do touch, you might play around with reaching the arms out behind you here. Make sure that your gaze stays directly up at your thighs or towards the sky. We never want to move our neck when we're moving through some inversions, especially these kinds of inversions where pressure is a lot on the neck. Now to get out, same way you got in, bring the hands back for support, lift your legs up, and then slowly, slowly lower down, either back onto your block there, or onto the floor if you didn't have a block. Bring your heels under your knees, lift your hips, slide the block out from underneath. Hug your knees into your chest. Take your knees wide and reach up for your ankles, your big toes, or the outer edges of your feet. And pull the tops of your knees down to the floor. Make sure that your tailbone stays grounded here. It often likes to roll up like a cooked lobster tail. And then make sure that your shoulders, the back of the neck, and the head also stay grounded here as well. You're welcome to find movement or stillness if you want it. And then gathering the knees back together. Reach your arms out to goalpost or a T, and let your knees fall over to the right. Take your gaze to the left. Enjoy one more breath. Gather your gaze back up, your knees to center, and take your knees over to the left. Take your gaze over to the right. And then come back through center. Hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Nose up into knees. Let your head and shoulders come back down to the mat. Keep a hold of your knees. And as you're ready, lengthen arms and legs out nice and long for final resting pose. We've got a good 4 minutes here, so I encourage you to make anything around you, support yourself with things that you need. Make yourself 10% more comfortable than you are. And let your limbs become heavy once again. Let your eyes soften or close. Let your breath be free. Fully surrender here for the next several rounds of breath. Deep peace to all of you. to slowly deepen your breath. Begin to reawaken through fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, head and neck. Let's take a big full body stretch again. Toes together at the back of your mat, arms overhead at the top of your mat. Lengthen out. And then gather your knees back into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Roll over onto your right side. Pause in the fetal position. A moment here to thank yourselves for showing up. Pressing up with as little effort as you can, come back into an easy seat. Sit up nice and tall, somewhere where you can find a nice tall spine. Bring your hands together at your heart and soften your gaze, or close your eyes. Bow your head towards your prayer hands. Where we are in space, we have a good idea of what we wish to create. We have a better idea of who we are and how we wish to serve. Use this time to really look inwards and draw from those creative experiences, those creative opportunities, insights, and inspirations. We know that they are truly ours because we're taking a break from those external influences. So be with yourself, be in the here and now, and take your focus more inwards. And surprise yourself with planting those seeds for the future self, for when we're ready to come back out and blossom. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Let us end our practice by saying, may peace, may love, may light be felt within each and every one of you. Bless you and everyone you meet. Namaste. Thank you, yogis, for sharing your practice with me today. I hope that you enjoyed it and you feel nice and open in your body. Again, we'll have some more deep stretch and some classes next week. So follow me on social media. I hope to see you all very soon. Namaste.